Resale Buzz. My name is Eric. Let me start by saying why I created this channel. And as I go forward with this channel, I'm going to create some video, some just audio, kind of a combination of both. If you've found this channel, you've probably been searching around on the internet, YouTube, and you've been seeing a lot of talk about the resale business. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about on this channel is going to be somewhat controversial, related to just the business in general. And some of it's going to be related to some things I've kind of learned over the years, and some things I've kind of seen out in the world of resale, locally here, also on the internet, YouTube. Let me first start by saying there's a lot of good information on the internet and YouTube, but there's also a lot of bad information, a lot of information that's old. And sometimes it's hard to find exactly what is good and what is bad. A lot of what you'll see, people are looking for the next best thing. What are you going to find that no one else has discovered, and you can pick up on it and make a fortune? And I'm here to tell you, and a lot of people can debate, if you're searching for that online, you're not going to find it. There's some debate whether people putting information out there is ruining the business. Don't know really whether that's necessarily true, but I do believe, in my own opinion, that it's definitely diluting the marketplace. And what I mean by that is, you have a channel where someone's describing something that they find regularly out at a estate sale or a thrift store or a flea market, wherever you pick your stuff up. And they're putting that information out there. Let's say they've got 1,000 subscribers. Well, those 1,000 people, somebody tells somebody, and that information's old by the time you get to it. So the only thing I can say about it is nothing's really a secret anymore. The information it's readily available. And you can still find stuff occasionally that you'll see in these videos. The majority of the time you're going to find it's priced too high where you can't make any money on it. And other times you'll get lucky, but those lucky times are going to be few and far between. If you're new to the resale business, this channel's going to be somewhat helpful, because I'm going to tell you some of the things that I've run across over the years that are going to be helpful to you. They're not only going to be helpful, but it's going to be something you can take with you and hopefully learn from some of the mistakes that I've made. And I'm going to hopefully teach you some stuff that you haven't seen or heard of before. And I really want to start today by just talking about some of the things I've heard here in the resale, what you would call, a lot of people would call the resale community, as a changing business. This is a changing business. I have not seen too many people talk about this on the internet or YouTube in general. A lot of what you're going to see is these big haul videos where, I went to my local Goodwill and picked up, $10 worth of stuff that's worth $1,000. If you're looking for that information, not that I don't find some stuff sometimes and could certainly put it on here. I'm not going to do that. There's plenty of videos out there where you can see that information. What I'd like to do is kind of call upon other resellers to find out what is going on in your resale business. Some of the stuff I'll talk about on here is just some of the thoughts that I have. I've been involved in this now for 4 or 5 years, trying to do it full time, having a lot more difficulty lately. And I want to jump into today's subject by I know this is going to be very debatable among many people, but just the changes that are taking place. Can you make a living anymore doing this full time? And although I've been doing it and I've been struggling, I'm not afraid to admit I've been struggling in the last year or so, and wondering whether I can keep this up. And it's hard to tell sometimes. Sometimes I think I'm gonna push through this, and other times I don't think I can. And let me start by just telling you my experiences in the last year or so. And this could be just a regional thing for me personally. I haven't ventured out to many other areas of the country, but I would say that for me personally, it's changed. Particularly, like I said, in the last year. And when I say that, it's the market itself for resellers it's oversaturated. That's right, I said it. It's oversaturated. 3-4 years ago, I would walk around a estate sale. There's plenty to go around, plenty to pick up. Not so much anymore. And I know many people are going to say that's just not true, but I'm here to tell you, especially if you're a new reseller, it's true. And some of the changes that are taking place have to do with the economy. A lot of people would like to tell you that the job market is great. And I don't want to go too far off on a tangent, but the reality of that is it's not. When you see those job numbers climbing, yes, there's more jobs, but they're not jobs that either pay well for a good living, or they're not substantial jobs. So many people are picking up this business as side income. So if you're a full-time reseller, that's going to make a huge impact on whether you can survive. Well, one of the things I've seen is a change, just to kind of throw a few out there. I go to auctions quite a bit. And I mean, usually 3-4 auctions a week. We have a lot of different ones in the area. And if you're an auction goer, I'd like to hear and see if you've seen the same thing. Probably in the last year, as I go to these auctions, they're getting more and more crowded. I see new faces every time I go. Not to mention that auctions used to be a great place to pick up lots of items. And by lots, I mean, 50 of the same item that you buy at a discount that you can resell. I'm in Florida, so it could be different where you're at, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard, the same thing's going on. So now is what I see at these auctions is they have lots. So if they have 20 of the same thing, usually is what they do is they say, high bidder's choice. So now you're going to get to pick from those 20 items which one you want. And they'll do a high bidder's choice 4 or 5 times. And then they'll sell the rest as a lot, which by that time usually means that the good stuff's gone. The 3 or 4 that you wanted to buy to make money off of within that lot is gone. Now, if they're the same item, like I said, probably doesn't matter. But by same item, I mean, let's say you were buying a lot of figurines in general, but they're different ones. So, you got 20 figurines, but they're different figurines. 4 of them, are worth some money. And the other ones maybe a little bit. You probably could sell them, but they're not worth as much. So that's one change that I've seen. Another one that I've seen is you'll see a lot of talk about retail arbitrage. I haven't ventured into it much. I've tried. I've looked at it. I've researched it. One of the saturations for that market that I've seen is, as an example, is I went into one of these discount retailers on a Monday get this, a Monday afternoon, and I go into the store, a Monday afternoon, let's say 1, 2 o'clock, and I literally see 5 or 6 people scanning items in this store on a Monday afternoon. So that just kind of tells you the retail arbitrage, there's a lot of competition. So the chances of really picking up those items on a consistent basis is more difficult than ever. And I personally am not going to get involved in the retail arbitrage game just because I don't. First of all, anything I've done with it, and someone could tell me I'm wrong, there's just not enough margin in it. You know, from what I've seen, there's 20%, 30%. You know, and a lot of the items, you'd have to pick up a lot of items unless you find something really good that you can make some money on. The other thing is the chances of saturation in the marketplace with retail arbitrage. So, you know, if you pick up items at a local discount store that you think are a great deal, and now you get home and the same store, you know, 1,200 miles away decided to put those on clearance as well, now you've got a ton of people selling the same item. So it becomes very difficult. The other sourcing you'll hear about is garage sales. Now, garage sales in general used to be a great place to pick things up. And you'll see a lot of people out there sourcing for items at garage sales. But again, garage sales, they've changed. For instance, I know in my area, many of them going on every week. And I think the biggest frustration for myself as a reseller is garage sales at one time used to be a place where people would sell things they're trying to get rid of. They're trying to make some space in the house, and they just want to get rid of these things. In reality, many garage sellers are not in that particular realm or business anymore. What you'll see is, and I see this weekly, and I'd love to hear from other listeners if you're getting the same thing, is there's probably, in the area I live, probably a good dozen or more garage sales where they have a garage sale every single week. Even though there's laws against it, you know, for zoning laws or city laws or county laws, they're holding a garage sale at their house every week. Now, there's one reason only they're typically doing this, is they're a reseller. And they're using the garage sale to resell. So the chances of finding those items that somebody just wanted to get rid of is diminished. You'll go to the garage sale and everything is eBay prices, Amazon prices. So that's just another avenue I don't really hear anyone talking about. Another one I wanted to bring up is the thrift stores. If you're new to reselling, you'll see, and you watch YouTube videos, you're out on the internet, you'll see a lot of videos on thrift stores. And again, it's probably going to compare by region, but I would say overall, because they're taking on a new business model, thrift stores are. I even see it in the independent thrift stores by me. If you're looking to find things that are you can resell for a good margin, a good profit, you're probably not going to find it at a thrift store. Not to say you don't go, because you could always find something, but chances are the big thrift stores, you're just not going to find it. And I mean the Goodwills, the Salvation Armies. If you're new to resale, go inside one of these stores and you'll see what I'm talking about. Is they're taking the items that come in, the good items, the vintage items, the antique items, and a lot of times you won't find them in the store, and if you do, they're sitting behind the what I call the specialty glass. They know what these items are worth. They know what they sell for. And that's not to mention if they make it behind the glass, because I don't think anyone's going to talk about it, but I have a feeling that some of these items that are good that come in get snatched up quite quickly by insiders or people that work at the store, and they're sold. They're sold online, they're sold on eBay. Goodwill has a auction site. So a lot of those antique vintage items they get in, they're auctioning them off. So the chances of finding things at thrift stores it's becoming less. And all this it's making it more difficult. I don't want this to be a channel where I sit here and rant about all these things. I just want some discussions about the changes that we're seeing that no one else is talking about. The other one is the flea markets. Used to be a great sourcing place. Now I see flea market vendors that I see mostly at auctions. They're buying the stuff at the auctions if they can get it for a cheap price, and they're bringing it to the flea market. They're selling it at a retail price. Try going to a flea market. See what you can find. Not a whole lot. So I think the big question is, where do you source? And for myself, it's becoming more difficult. The estate sale companies, that's another one. 3 years ago, I used to be able to go to estate sales. I used to find some items. Now if I go to an estate sale, most of the time they're so crowded. I've kind of taken a step backwards of trying to get there early. A lot of times I have a suspicion that there's insiders that are buying these items early, or if you're the first one through the door, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the merchandise. I've had better luck, and also talking to some of the people locally, just going to the estate sale. The best thing is, the things they're advertising are going to be taken up quick. So if you're online looking at their site, they have pictures. I wouldn't sit in line for them, personally. The other thing with the estate sales is the pricing. When I talk about a lot of this, a lot of it's very understandable. Everyone's trying to get the most that they can for everything. But the estate sales, most of it's, at least in my area, is retail. If I look up an item at an estate sale, it typically is very in line with an eBay or Amazon price. And depending on what day you're there, most of the companies in my area will not negotiate on the first day, second day. They'll wait till the last day, and usually after a certain hour to negotiate. And by this time, the item's gone. You're probably not going to get that item. So I guess my question is, as resellers, where do we source from here? I mean, I'm finding it more difficult. No one's talking about the challenges that we see. Another one is Craigslist. I see a lot of news about Craigslist, sourcing on Craigslist. And I'm here to tell you that I've looked in other areas. My area locally, can you find items? Yes. Are they plentiful like you see in YouTube videos and online? The truth is no. A lot of sellers on Craigslist are resellers. So you're going to get close to a retail price. And that's a reality. There's a lot of other apps out there and sites that the same thing. You're going to get resellers. So where do you find this stuff? I still hit a lot of these places and occasionally find things, but it's just not in abundance like it once was. And to be honest, I don't know how much longer the resale business is going to be intact if there's going to be sort of a bubble that bursts. If you're thinking about getting into the resale business, my suggestion is, if you've got a full-time job, is don't quit your full-time job. I kind of got pushed into doing this full-time and have been somewhat successful through a very good corporate layoff job. But now I'm almost taking on a full-time sourcing, part-time selling role as the market is saturated with resellers. And I'm trying to give some advice, and probably shouldn't, because I'm full-time and I see more part-time resellers going to the places I go and are taking what's available. So I hope this information was helpful. As I go forward, like I said, I don't want this to be a negative channel for many of you, but I'm just trying to give you the reality of reselling. So I'd love to hear from people. You can certainly comment, like this channel, as I'll put some more of these out. Like I said, as I go forward, many of these are probably going to do audio, some video along the way, and I'll try to pass on some of the information I have, what I've learned over the years, and try to give you some reality into reselling. You can reach me at resalebuzztalk@gmail.com is the email address. And like, subscribe, comment. I'd love to hear from you. One of my big thoughts lately is regionally around the country are a lot of the same things going on that I'm experiencing, because that is one of the big questions that I commonly hear from people locally, and also I see around on the internet. So until next time, keep grinding along. You know, the opportunities are out there. They're just not what they used to be. And I will be back to comment soon.